Top 5 argument in Jubilee history, no
Ooh.
cap. You're a 65 player, he brings you up to 78. But if you're a 92 player, he brings you down to a 78.
Should I even go out again? Because I don't want to do too well. I don't want to. Also, make sure you shout out SBR. And also, make sure you get Skip Bayless to come on our show.
How was Skip? This is SBR, the People's Pod, giving you unfiltered and unqualified content every other week. I'm Cliffy's Joe. Welcome back, everybody.
What's up, everyone?
For those that are new, SBR stands for shouting from the back row because we can't afford the seats in the front, so we're yelling from the back.
The cheap seats.
We're here. Thank you for the new people that have joined us in the midst of a celebrity, our very own podcast host, Joe.
Oh, my gosh.
New celebrity, newfound success.
I'm glad,
you know,
though.
I'm glad you made time for us.
Glad you forced me to do it.
Which I kind of did.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to accomplish the mission of shouting out SBR or getting Skip Bayless to come on our podcast.
Which was the two missions I gave you.
As if that was plausible.
Sneak it in
Yeah,
or invite him.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, to Cliff, this is 100%. He thought that was actually going to happen. He was not joking at all when he told me to do those
That was my very first
things.
question after you filmed. I was like, so
I know
did
this
you shout out SBR? And then
Not
how
even-
was it? How are
Yep.
you? Did
Yep.
you have fun?
Nothing like that. And we're friends, by the way. This isn't just a
Not
work
just coworkers.
relationship. We've been friends for decades. This guy doesn't even ask how it went. Just like, did you shout out SBR first? First question. That's why I texted Boomy first, Cliff. That's why I talked to my wife first.
And what did she ask? She's like, oh, did you have fun?
Of course. All the things a normal, caring person would ask. How was it? How did you feel? Was it
Your
fun?
emotions, yeah.
Drive carefully. Stuff like that.
Drive carefully.
Yeah.
Look, I knew you got those out of the way. That's fine.
Oh,
Let's get those out of the way.
It was. You were just confident. You didn't need to ask.
Those are the
me.
formalities. Okay, I already know you're good. It's fine. You're good.
Oh gosh.
You're a safe driver. Okay. It's fine.
Oh gosh.
For all those that didn't know, Skip Bayless was on a Surrounded, where he was surrounded by multiple super fans, as they call it. Look, Joe, I comb through the comments section because that's kind of what I do. 70% of the comments were about Skip and how they were like, wow, I've never seen him so pleasant. I think they made me see him in a really good light. I think he was amazing here, or he owned some people, X, Y, and Z. 25% was about the format and future shows. So like they really liked the format of low stakes sports topics. They thought it was really great. They thought Stephen A should do it. They thought Nico versus 20 Mavs fans would be really good, which I think would be really funny.
They should do that. They would never do that. Just 'cause security alone would probably be a nightmare.
But 5% of the comments were about a single contestant. There was one person that they talked about, and it was about our very own Joe
Second guy
from SBR. the X Andrew XO. Get this guy a guest spot on all NBA talk shows. At BearsFan2476. Joe is speaking facts about Kobe. People forget how dominant Kobe was during the Shaq run, and then to win it with Powell. At Warren Taffa. The second guy needs a spot on First Take, ESPN, or Fox. XJX Vanny 1. I thought the same thing. Very knowledgeable, composed, well-spoken dude. Bro was elite. Definitely an anime guy talking about arcs.
True.
And X Kings guy. Top 5 argument in Jubilee history. No cap.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Joe, I know. How did you feel about your performance against Skip?
Man, I was so nervous this week. I was way more nervous waiting for this to come out than I was on the day. The day of.
Why?
I don't know, because it's so funny how, and it's just kind of interesting how this all came about a little bit by chance, kind of.
Yeah.
/ you forcing me to do this. But to me, it's so, I was like, I don't really care. Like, even when I did the interview, so you have to interview for this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And we did like a Zoom interview. And like, I was so whatever. It's like, because I'm just like, who cares? Like, this is so not at all related to anything that I care about in life. Like, obviously we care a lot about sports, but it's not our full, it's not our real job. Like, we got families, like we got other things going on. And so I'm just like, this would be fun, And so that's how I went there. Love the experience, by the way. Loved meeting the people. That was, for me, the best part. Yeah, I met a bunch of the people. Andrell, Will, Jack, Ryan, your boy Ryan.
My boy Ryan.
Shout out to Ryan. Ryan, we're gonna have you on one day. But Ziggy, like, it was cool talking with a lot of the people and just getting to know them. And so I didn't really feel any pressure. Another funny thing is, some people didn't even know what the flags were. Like, who were watching the video, and some people were texting me after. The flags are to vote out the person who's sitting there. They don't explain the rules, I realized. But yeah, the flag is to vote out the speaker. But the reason that people raise the flags, and I realized this being there, is because you want to give a lot of people a chance to speak.
Right.
So even when I was in the middle, part of me was thinking, like, I don't want to take up too much time. Yeah. Like, I just want to get to my points, and then I want to get out so that other people, and I've met all these people, and some of them came from far away. Obviously, we're local, but there's people who flew in from out of state and whatnot. And I'm like, I want everybody to have a chance to speak, especially the people I met. So I also didn't go for the middle often when I knew somebody that I wanted to have a chance, like when they hadn't gone yet. So I was just kind of like waiting. And that's why I missed maybe more opportunities too. But that's why I didn't feel a lot of pressure, because I was just like, this is just like for fun. And then and then so it's over.
So what changed? I don't understand.
So it's funny. It's over. I talked to Boomy. I felt like everything was great. I talked to you. I was like, I felt like I did I felt like I did a good job. But then the more I thought about it, the more I kept thinking like, I should have said this. Right? I was like, I should have said this. Oh, like I could have made this argument, and I didn't even bring up this, and I could have brought up this, and all these things started popping into my mind. Sure. And the more I replayed it, the more I was convinced that I had done really bad. I kind of convinced myself that, oh no. And then I'm like, oh, it's a Jubilee video. Probably millions of people are going to watch this. And they're all going to be in the comments like, oh, look at this casual. This fool doesn't even know basketball and like, get out of here kind of stuff. So I really started getting worried about that. Not that it's a big deal. I mean, who cares if people think you're a casual or whatever.
That's why. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, but then, it's kind of like, at that point, because it was over, the die had been cast, I kind of felt like, oh man, I missed my chance to kind of do well.
Okay.
Like I had this one chance, like, because obviously we're not really trying to do this to be famous or anything like that.
No.
So but I'm thinking, I thought, oh, it'd be cool because this is a video probably a lot of people will see, and it's my one chance to kind of put myself out there, do something fun. And obviously in that case, you want to do well. If this is the only thing you do this kind of, it's like you want it to be you want to have done a good job.
Sure.
And so that's why I became really nervous, and I started telling Boomy.
I think that's so weird, given that you already did it. So like you already did it, the results basically, unless you feel like they're going to give you an unfair edit. Like I feel like there's nothing to worry about.
I didn't feel like that at all. I know it's funny. What you're saying makes sense, but this is just how it played out for me.
Yeah, that's why I'm so curious.
It's kind of the difference between our personalities too, though, right? Like you're very like once it's said and done, it's said and done.
Yeah,
what's done is
I'm
done
nervous
kind of
heading into it, right? I'm like, I need to be completely equipped to make sure that I don't look like a fool.
Yes.
That's like my mensa. But you are always very good on the fly, at reacting on the fly. Even the tragic Johnson comment.
Okay, so you're okay with Kobe pouting in a Game 7 at Phoenix against Raja Bell?
I'm not okay with it, but I mean, are you okay with 84, Tragic Johnson, where,
He was
runs
Tragic
out the
Johnson.
clock, throws the turnover?
Okay.
I was like, oh, that was like perfect to throw in at the right. I would never have been able to do that. Like, unless I'm prepared, I usually can't come up with things that quickly. So that's why I feel like the pressure immediately at the start, like I have to perform well at this thing. After it's done, I'm kind of like, well, it's too late. Right there it is.
Yeah, I think,
Farewell.
and, I mean, you know this about me too, but people who know me well, I am an overthinker. I don't appear to be that way oftentimes,
Right.
but
Right.
I do overthink things, and especially in retrospect, like things that have already happened. I always think like, I could have done this better. I could have said this better.
Right.
And I tend to go back and kind of editorialize those things in my mind. And it's just, I don't know. That's just my personality. I'm not a super extroverted person, right? So I have to summon everything to get into a moment and to do that. And both of us, I would say, we're pretty good under pressure. So like if it comes down to it, it's like we'll perform.
Yeah.
For you, I think once it's over, you feel relief, like, oh, it's over.
I do.
For me, it's like I go back and be like, oh, I should have. Even when we used to do a lot of music, I'd be like, oh man, I should have played this, or I should have done that.
Yeah.
Like I could have,
But I'm on the high from doing it.
Yeah. You're always happy. Once it's over, you're just like all high fives, all smiles.
Yeah.
Let's go
course.
eat. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Me, I'm always like, oh man, did I do my best? Like, did I do the best that I could? I don't know. It's got to be some, it's childhood trauma. It's growing up with Asian parents.
Okay, now that it's released, though, do you have that same feeling?
I mean, no, I'm just very thankful because a lot of, like you said, of course, I've scrolled the comments too. I've seen a lot of positive comments. For
they don't
myself
talk
in
about
particular.
anybody else. There's like maybe one or two about the crazy Eagles fan, one guy that gets owned.
Yeah.
But of the comments about the people, you are the person that they talk about.
I'm just thankful. Yeah, I'm thankful that it comes off that way. Obviously, for us, because we do this all the time, it's a little
practice.
easier. Yeah, because we're used to it. Obviously, also, I'm a pastor, so public speaking is something I do every week. It's not like I don't really get nervous doing that anymore as well. So, but it's just nice. It's just nice to be appreciated. Yeah. A lot of the comments I'm like so thankful for. The people who are like, oh, this guy should have his own, his own thing.
And you're like, I do. And that's when you should have been able to be like, dude, see? If you plugged it in, this wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't even need to comment. They just come straight to us.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay. So, how was Skip?
Skip was awesome, dude. Honestly, he was not anything like I imagined he would be. In our minds, we all think Skip is this kind of, I don't know, curmudgeon-y, like angry guy or something because that's how he appears on TV often.
Yeah.
He was super nice. Like, we didn't interact with him a lot.
Sure.
But when he came in, we're all there first. We're all getting set up. He comes. He is very nice. He greeted each one of us individually, kind of just to say hi and like introduce himself. So we all got to meet him. And then, of course, we did the whole filming. And afterwards, also, he came up to each one of us. And, it's not like we had long conversations, but he would just say little things here and there like, hey, great job. And if he remembered anything about that person, he was like, hey, this was a great point or that was a great point. You were really nice. Or, for me, he was like saying, hey, like really smart points, like, good job kind of thing. And I was very thankful. Yeah, just the fact that he would kind of acknowledge us all. There was no kind of superstar behavior, no prima donna type stuff at all. He was very cordial, like nice. And so it was great. Yeah. And people see in the video too, this is the like nicest version of Skip I think that's ever appeared in media. He was very reasonable. He wasn't really shouting or going crazy a lot. I know a little bit he did in the LeBron Jordan section.
I think it's passion,
cool.
though. It wasn't antagonistic.
Yeah, no. He never got And I credit Skip for recognizing that like we're not celebrities.
Yeah.
We're not famous or rich. We're just regular people. And so if he had done anything like that, I mean, it would be kind of like punching down, to question our like pedigree or
Fandom.
to question our resume. Yeah, or to say like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about kind of thing. Like he never said that, even if it did appear sometimes that someone maybe wasn't as versed as he was. He was very polite about it. Whereas I think on TV, when it's professionals going at each other, it's a little more acceptable because, you're supposed to be ready
They're
for
in the
those
same weight
things.
class, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But for us, we're just like regular people with 9-to-5 jobs who are coming in their spare time to do something, right? And so he was really cool about that.
Would you say that your opinion of either sports media or sports fandom, being around all these people that talked about it, has changed or stayed the same?
I mean, everyone knew their stuff. Yeah, and there were a lot of things that people said off camera, right? When I was just talking with them. So sometimes the arguments didn't come out as eloquently when they were in the hot seat. And that's understandable because you get nervous.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking about your arguments in your head, it flows, right? But then once the questions are coming and the counter arguments are coming, you have to think on the fly. Right? You have to make adjustments. And sometimes people weren't able to do that. And so I understand how being in that situation, like there were so many things I wanted to say too that I wasn't able to get out. Yeah, I wanted to talk about how Magic's team was a super team. I wanted to bring up a lot of the Kareem stuff and his stats and how it's not just purely about productivity on the court. Right? I think the GOAT debate is always just about basketball. Right? It's always about on the court. But when it comes to you call somebody the greatest pacer, the greatest Laker, the greatest warrior, it can't be just on the court stuff. Right? Yeah. That's never what it is. There is always an extra element about affection and fandom. And like, if you're a franchise that's never won a championship, you still have a greatest player. You know what I mean? You still have a guy who embodies that franchise because when it's from that perspective, everything matters. Little playoff wins, like little victories here and there. I think for that, when you talk about greatest Laker, 81 matters way more. 62 and 3/4 matters way more. 30-point streak, 40-point streak, 50-point streak. All those things matter because it matters to your franchise and to the fans and the city, even if those things don't come up as much in GOAT debates. Right. GOAT debates, you go straight to championships. You go straight to like finals performances, all those kind of things.
MVPs, playoff appearances.
Yeah, MVP. Exactly. Defensive
series
teams.
Wins,
all those
stats.
Awards, all that stuff. Because you have to because it has to be about basketball only. But for a franchise, it's different. When you call somebody the greatest something, the greatest Raptor of all time, it doesn't matter that Kawhi won the one ring for them. He's not the greatest Raptor of all time.
It's Vinsanity.
Right. It's Vince. I mean, you could give it to maybe Kyle Lowry or DeRozan, like those guys in that era. But it's those guys. It's not about who was the best player to ever play for that franchise, right? It's about who embodies that franchise and is the guy that you want, retired jersey, statue outside. Like that's what it's about. And so
Reggie
I didn't
Miller
even get to
on the
that.
Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't clearly articulate that argument because you're under pressure. It's like you gotta respond to things. So I get why people weren't able to do that. But when I'm talking to them on the side, man, dude, the KC guy, I'm forgetting his name, the KC fan, awesome. He knew so much stuff, dude. Like he remembered play down, how many yards,
Wow.
what exactly like his memory was just on point. And you realize with everybody, it's because just like us, we remember where we were when the 81. We remember where we were when the 62 and 3/4, right? Like we remember where we were when Kobe hit the game winner, in game 4 against the Suns. Like you remember those things because it's attached to your fandom. And I realize all these serious fans, they all have the same knowledge of their particular team. So I was very impressed actually by everybody.
Yeah. So you didn't get chosen for the final,
No.
final thing, which I thought you might, but you didn't end up getting chosen. Did you have a topic that you wanted to discuss with Skip?
So here's another thing. Just what was going on in my head. I was a little scared to go again. I did feel so after I went. I felt really good.
Yeah.
And I got a big clap. And people were saying little comments on the side. One, I think it was Rachel who I met after, and who was like, awesome. She did her thing about the Eagles and Belichick. But she was like, Joe cooked. She was like that. and I was like, oh, like I feel good. You know, the commentary was very like positive, but I was really early. So as it went on, I was thinking, okay, you know, there's definitely a couple people who've done well. There's a potential that I might be picked. I didn't have a take.
Oh no.
I was not prepared. So I got real nervous. I was like, shoot. And I kind of debated, like, should I even go out again? Because I don't want to do too well. Like, I was like, I kind of don't want to get picked because I don't really have it. Like, who thinks they're going to get picked, right? I was thinking, like, I'm not going to be the best person out here. Like, there's no way they're going to pick me. Yeah. So I got a life. Like, I was prepping other stuff. I got to preach the next day. I'm not trying to sit out, like, spend my whole life, like, trying to, get a career in this. So, I was just thinking, like, they're not going to pick me. So I was not prepared. I would have had to do something on the fly. But I realized what I should have done after.
What would you have done?
So it's funny because I agree with Skip. Like, we agree with Skip on a lot of stuff. Like, I think
we do.
Brady's the GOG. Obviously, not just the GOAT. He's the GOAT of GOATs, right?
Yeah.
I think Jordan's the GOAT. But here's the thing. He has LeBron at 9 all time. Yeah. That is egregiously low.
It is egregious.
That is bad.
It's hater level. It's hater level.
So I think the argument I would have made, which is crazy because I've gotten so many texts from friends about how I defended Kobe, but they would have hated if I did this take, which would have been LeBron James is the second greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that that's probably, I mean, I don't even know if I 100% agree with that, but it's definitely a case I could make.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely on the fly. I think I could have just made that case.
Because everyone after Jordan has flaws.
Exactly.
They have kinks in the armor. And that's the point.
That is the point. And LeBron James, by the way, 4 finals MVPs. He's the only guy. Jordan's 1. He's 2. Nobody else has 4 finals MVPs. And that's the thing, because whenever you start parsing it out and you're like, oh, Magic. Oh, but Magic actually only has 3 finals MVPs because Kareem got 1 and Big Game James got 1. Bird didn't get finals MVP in his 3 championships. So every time you look at it, you realize, wow, Magic was on a super team. Bird was on a super team. Kobe was on a super team. Shaq was on a super team. And you start going down the line. All these guys in the top 10 that he has ahead of LeBron all played with each other.
Yeah.
So how can LeBron be so low and you use this super team argument for LeBron when he's the only guy in the top 10? Now, granted, he doesn't know the law of LeBron. He doesn't know our law of LeBron, which would be a perfect argument against this, which is, for those of you who are new to us, LeBron he does more with less and he does less with more.
If you want to use the 2K analogy, he brings everybody to a 78 level.
Yes.
If you're a 65 player, he brings you up to 78. But if you're a 92 player, he brings you down to a 78.
Yeah. So eventually, Dwayne Wade had to end up at that 78 level.
He had to learn how to stand in that corner.
He started at 96. Then he got lowered all the way down to 78. Chris Bosh, I don't care if you're a 92. You're coming down to 78, son.
There you go. Stand right there. Stand right there in the corner. Okay, maybe 78 is too low. Let's call it 83. 83.
The
83.
I don't know, though. But by the end, by 2014, dude, Bosh and Wade, they were like 78. And then like LeBron left, and then they got better again.
Yeah, they went up to 85, 88.
They improved again.
And short story, the reason being is because LeBron is good at the top 25 things you need to do, And he's
Yes.
better at you than doing all those things. So what he needs you to do is be a place that he can't be, which is at the rim and at the corner at the same time. At the top of the key or at the
Yes.
corner at the same time.
Yes.
He can't be in
So
both
that
those
is-
places. So you
yeah.
got to be there.
Yes.
That's
That
where
is
you gotta be.
LeBron's fatal flaw. He's not good enough at doing things off the ball, or at least in his career, he hasn't been. He's always needed the ball in his hands. He's always dominated usage. I do think that literally held him back, because had he allowed Dwayne Wade to be Dwayne Wade and he found a way to kind of, if they could have coexisted better, that team should have been better. And I think the vibes would have been better. I think even the injuries might have been better. It's hard when you force a player to do things that they don't want to do. It just kills, it just kills the chemistry, right? And it's not lasting. And so, but look when that's all hypothetical.
Even if you have, let's say you have your Counter-Strike team or your Fortnite team or whatever, and he says, and you're like really good at pistoling. One guy's really good at the submachine gun. One guy's really good at the AR. But you have LeBron on your team who's better than you at all those things. So he's like, can you guys all be snipers? And I'll just go out myself.
Exactly. I'm going, just cover me. Just cover me.
Just cover me. Just cover me.
Yeah.
And we'll win. And it's
Yes.
like, all right, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
not a great sniper. I mean, I could learn,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't have great awareness, and my headphones are broken. But so if someone sneaks up on me, I'm not going to hear them, and then everyone gets killed, and then LeBron's by himself, and then the media goes, "Look at him, all by himself, forced to be all alone because all his snipers were taken out." Yeah, we're trolling, but but hey, it's partly
So
hypothetical.
look, when Nick
It's partly
Wright does
speculative.
the Surrounded, you can go in and do the Law of Lebron.
That's my real dream.
All right. Anything
was
else
fun.
to say? Anything else to say about Surrounded?
Yes, Cliff. I have to ask you a question.
Sure.
Why didn't you want to do this? That's my question.
I thought the premise was better for you to shine than for me. And I already did one. I did a Jubilee thing. So I wanted to get you on to potentially do more stuff if they, if there's cool stuff, right? But like, again, I think it's healthier for us if both our SBR names are out there. I guess I could have gone both of us, but I didn't want to push my luck. And if it was one of us, I'd rather have you.
It was, and I'm only asking because I'm very thankful for this opportunity. However, it did not come as an opportunity, more as a demand from Cliff.
It was a demand from me. I was like, you need to do this.
Like,
You gotta
you're
do
gonna do
this.
this, right?
You're going to do this.
was-
You got to do it.
There was no, because essentially, not to.
I started softly.
Not
though.
to disclose too much, but Cliff basically got me, like, he's the one who got me onto this. Yeah. I didn't like apply myself. And so, I was just like, what's going on? So it was also unclear at the beginning. I thought we were both doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
Because Cliff purposely made it vague so that it was unclear. I thought we were both going, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not doing it. You're doing it." I was like, "What?" It's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, just do it." And of course, that's when it's like, no, you're doing it. This is better for you. And also, make sure you shout out SBR, and also make sure you get Skip Bayless to come on our show. This is so Cliff, guys. If you don't know Cliff, this exactly is Cliff. And I'm just like, what?
That entire series of events is so me. Like, all of it. From top to bottom, I'm pretty sure I've done this to you in the hordes of like 50 times.
I'm just like, what? Like, what is happening here?
Where we get ourselves into such a dumb situation that is definitely 1,000% my fault many times. Yeah, I got asked, and I was like, I got a really great guy for that.
Oh gosh.
And so, yeah, you got passed on to the casting director, and here we are. Here we are.
But shout outs to Jubilee. Shout outs to all the people in the video. It was awesome to meet everyone.
Skip. Shout out to the
Shoutouts
Jubilee
Skip.
team.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like it was very well run, very professional.
Totally
so,
professional.
Look, anyone else
Yeah.
that wants to do Surrounded, you should and go apply. It's great. A lot of the Jubilee staff, I've worked with them. Very professional. Really cool to see. It was great.
Yeah, it was a great environment. Yeah, it was very cool just to be there. And for me, it was really about the experience. I just wanted to see what it was like to do this kind of thing and how they run things. And it was fun.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't, go watch it. Get those view numbers up so that they can do more of these and Joe can get the recognition in the comments. Go comment on it. He could be on the Kevin Feige one. Let's do it. All right, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for listening to the People's Pod. Subscribe, like, comment, share, rate. Give us 5 stars. We'll be back next time, probably in 2 weeks after the first run is done. This is SBR with Cliff and Joe. Peace.
Peace.
So funny. That is very me. Yeah, just do it. Hey, are you coming? No. I'm not coming. It's just you. What? What do you mean?
I was like, what? What are you talking about? So my explanation to Boomy was so confusing to her. Because you didn't even make it clear how it all started. I assumed it was Jason, obviously, but I'm just confused, kind of. And she's like, wait, I don't get it. Are you doing it? And then I'm like, I got to do this. I'm talking to I got to do this interview thing.
Yeah.
And then after it was over, and I'm keeping you updated. I'm assuming you're also doing the same things I'm doing. And then at some point, because I'm like, yeah, because you're like, how'd it go? And I'm like, oh, it went fine, and then they said I was going to be on it. Yeah. And then I'm telling Boomy, and she's like, so you guys are both going to be on it. And I'm like, I'm assuming, I think. And I realized at that point that I didn't
You
even
never
know
even asked,
was,
right?
Yeah.
Or I never told you?
Yeah. And then I was like, so you're doing it too, right? And you're like, no. No, just you're doing it. And I was like, what? Why am I just doing it?
Because we didn't even call about it. The way you're reading my text is the way I said it. Because you're like, no, that's exactly how I wrote it.
Yeah, of course.
You're reading it correctly.
Yes,
you're reading the tone correctly.
I can hear your tone through the text. Yeah, of course.
You're reading my tone very accurately.
Yeah, which is why my responses are exactly responding to that tone. What do you mean you're not doing? What do you mean no?